Hey everybody, it's Diana. This is unbelievable, guys. This is the third time, the third time I'm recording Capricorn for this time. I didn't even know what to say. The first time, the recording device just shut off halfway through. The second time, the exact same thing just happened. I don't even know what to say. You know what? At this point, I am just so determined. I don't even care. I am just going to record it. Come hell or high water, because it almost feels personal at this time. I need to get this done. Whew. So let's do this again. Okay. So the cards over to the left speaks to the energy a lot of you have dealt with in the last 3 months or so, or have the predominant energy that you guys were working with. And energy over here essentially is the energy that a lot of you will be working with between now through end of March 2022, so the next 3 months or so. And then the cards on the bottom are all advice cards that you'll be working with. So right away, as I'm seeing the energy of the last 3 months, it seems like there was a certain level of, I don't want to say drama, but there were certainly some challenges that some of you worked through. Whether it was a difficult breakup that some of you dealt with, or a job situation where it didn't end exactly the way you had planned to, feels like you have gone through a period of time where you had to really look within and almost just accept. You know how it's not the same as feeling defeated, but there are certain times, you know how sometimes you work at a project, you push through it, you push through it, you push through it. But at the end of the day, you're just like, you know what, by golly, it's just not gonna happen. Or this is just a silly example, but a friend of mine was telling me that she was baking something for a family get together recently, and she was trying a new recipe, and my gosh, she tried it like 3 or 4 times. It just didn't come out the way that the recipe presented it. And finally she's like, you know what, it's just not going to work out. I'm just going to default back to my usual cake for the family gathering. It's almost that type of feeling, like you just arrive at an understanding that maybe this is not the best way to go, and you sort of accept it. And of course, the example I just gave, it's almost like a silly small example, but that speaks to the type of energy that a lot of you have worked with. And it almost feels like there was a lot of energy and thought that was put into try to make whatever this failed project, or however you want to present it. You put a lot of energy, a lot of thought, perhaps a lot of time, but it wasn't meant to be. And you finally arrive at a point where sometimes when we give up on certain things, we throw our hands up in the air and say, you know what, forget it, it's not going to happen. But this is like a much deeper kind of understanding, like a deeper sorrow. I'm sorry some of you have to go through this, but it's like a deeper kind of sorrow that's going along with it. And there was definitely a lot of time and effort afterwards where, because you had this setback, you almost didn't want to deal with it. You didn't want to be with a lot of people. You want to be alone. You wanted to be alone to figure things out, because I think some of you, when you're hurt or disappointed, you don't really feel like talking to the world and going on social media or talk to all your family about what's happening. It felt like you want to take some time off and step away from things just to make sure that you understand what happened. It's that moment of, you know what, things didn't work out and I'm sad. Let me take some time off for a week, not talk to anybody, not deal with prying eyes, I guess, so to speak. And then let me just reflect and figure out like what went wrong, like let me kind of regroup myself so I can really regroup and figure things out. It's that taking that moment, and one example I can think of is maybe, you recently had a breakup, and I'm sorry if that's your situation. Maybe you had a breakup, and then afterwards you just decided to go on like a 1 day quick getaway or hiking trail or hiking trip on your own, just to figure things out and sort of just decompress, almost give yourself a little bit of time to mourn that loss, right? So you can figure out your next steps and get your bearings and figure things out. Or maybe some of you had a career setback. Maybe you were let go, or you left a job, you hated it. Even if you were the one who resigned, the hurt and the sadness could still very much be there. Just because we walk away from a situation doesn't necessarily mean it hurts us less. And then we still need time to be alone, to reflect and to recuperate. You needed that time so you can better plan for your next step. So you're able to say, you know what, now that I've parted with XYZ situation, maybe I can look forward and daydream about 1, 2, 3, or the next chapter in my life and see how all that's going to play out. And I'm just going to check on the recorder again because I'm just that paranoid. Oh, good. It's still recording. So, and because of recent setback and the time you spend trying to reflect and figure things out and this planning of next steps, I see new beginnings, much, much happier times. First of all, when you look at the color of these cards, it's like yellow all over. Right away, I feel like happier than the much darker gray color. Two of Wands traditionally is like a more successful, happy card. But it wasn't until today I'm actually looking at, I'm realizing it's mashing in with the gray of the other two cards. Where if you look at these cards, like the vibrance of the background shining completely through. And right away I'm thinking, oh, you know what, maybe in the New Year's you'll have like you'll be healing yourself from the recent setback. You'll be in some ways almost like taking on a new journey or taking time out for yourself to heal, to meditate. And there very much could be a new beginning. Like if it was a breakup that you've had, maybe you have a new emotional beginning. It doesn't necessarily have to be relationships. So what I mean is, maybe you left a relationship that was very unsuccessful. And a lot of times, what do we know about relationships that are unsuccessful and full of drama? It takes a lot of our time, a lot of our brain bandwidth, because we're just in the drama. We can't think of anything else because we're just so wrapped, what's the word? What's the term? We're so lost in our own drama. I guess that's the phrase I was thinking. So now that you've left a bad situation, whether it's a bad job or bad partner, I shouldn't say bad, unsuitable partner or unsuitable job situation, once your head clears up, you actually have the time and the bandwidth, the mental capacity to look around and notice other opportunities. So maybe now you have time to go on that solo hiking retreat that you've always wanted to, but you're too busy fighting with your partner because your partner didn't want to go with you. Or maybe you want to go on a sketchy, like a art drawing trip that would take a couple of days in a different city, but your partner didn't want you to go. Or when we're not in the right mental place, we don't want to do anything fun because sometimes we're just that preoccupied with, I was going to say anger, but things that are weighing us down. That's the right term. When you're not happy, a lot of times you feel weighted down and you almost don't want to do anything because your brain is so drained from all the fighting and trying to figure things out. So putting this in another perspective, if you were doing a job you absolutely hated, you hated your boss, you hated your coworker, you hated the commute, and you're just so exhausted every time you come home, but now that you're no longer in that job, you're like, holy cow, I actually have time. I can think clearly. now that I've gone over the sadness of not being that job or that relationship or that situation, I have the time to think clearly. I can do things that's going to make me happy. I will figure things out as I go. This is what I mean. This is what I mean by a new emotional beginning. You'll be at like a happier place. You have time to make new friends. You have time to connect with old friends. You have time to get on a call with your family and not talk about your ex for once, because your heart is much calmer. Your brain is not as cluttered. You're seeing other possibilities, I guess, in your life. Whether it's like a new job or opportunities to go on a new trip or pick up a new hobby that you haven't had time prior. And it almost feels like if you're meeting a new friend or another potential romantic partner, or when you see another job or another career path you want to pursue, I feel like you're going to be making certain decisions. I think part of the decisions will be about timing, right? Like, is this a right time for fill in the blank? Is this the right time for a new relationship? Is this the time for a new career path? Is it time for a new job, or should I stick with my old job? Should I take another online class so I can pursue the new job I want? Or do I stay with the same career path but a job with a different company? But then do I figure out, do I want to take some additional courses, go back to school? It's about filling up your resources, building your resources, so you can make a better decision about where to go next in terms of career, in terms of life. And I feel like this is very much about, once you, I guess, have the time to heal your wounds, heal your sorrow, and then you'll notice new possibilities in life, you're going to be able to really take charge and become this driver that's in this chariot. And you're going to be the driver who's going to take an active role in your life and truly decide whether you're going left, whether you're going right, you're going straight, like which direction are you going? Do you want to move to a different city now because you're no longer tied to your old situation? Do you want to go back to school because you don't have so many opposing forces in your life? It seems like you'll be going through a decision-making process where you will be trying to figure out what's the best next step for you. And when I look at this card, I very much think about, I think a lot of times Capricorns think with their brain because you're very logical people. Maybe think about happy things, childhood, nostalgic things. Try to look, I know it sounds so corny, but hear me out. Try to look at the world with like the childlike wonder. Think about the times when you were 6 or 5. What made you happy? Like, I know you're gonna say, oh, cotton candy made me happy, going to the zoo make me happy. I can't do that for a living. No, maybe not, but maybe some of those experiences you can try to incorporate into your day-to-day life. So if going to zoos make you happy, but for whatever reason you can't go to the zoos right now, maybe go on YouTube and like look at some cute animal videos that will put a smile on your face. Or if you have that childhood friend that you guys always got into a lot of trouble and got into all sorts of mischiefs together, maybe now is the time to reconnect with that friends. Look them up on Facebook, on Instagram, to see if there's a way to reconnect. Another message, I was a little reluctant, but I think it sort of falls into the realm of what we're talking about. I'm never a big proponent about getting back together with our ex. However, if this is an ex that were in your life a long time ago, I'm not talking about like the last ex or even the last ex. Maybe if you had a paramour or somebody you had a crush on from a long time ago, like I'm thinking at least 6 years ago, possibly like 10, but for whatever reason, like you missed each other. Maybe you guys were graduating from college together and you want to go to different cities, and long distance hardly ever work, and especially not when we're in our early 20s. It's that it has to be like an ex from a long time ago. Again, that's a possibility for some of you. Again, these energy readings are very general. It certainly is not going to apply to everyone who's watching this video. But I think a lot of times as we mature, we change. And some of the people, or I was going to say, and that ex with that relationship we had 10 years ago that didn't work out for whatever reason, 10 years later, maybe it could be the key word. Maybe it could work out again if, underline, bold, highlight, if both of you have really grown up and whatever kept you apart wasn't fundamental, like a personality flaw. Like if it was distance that kept you apart, if you guys were in different cities, then if you guys are in the same city now and living close to each other, maybe that's a possibility. If you were kept apart because, I don't know, one of you had to study abroad and the other one couldn't go. Again, like, I feel like whatever kept you apart can't be like some fundamental political view or spiritual view. It has to be something that's a little bit more superficial. And I keep on thinking distance. So I guess for the group of you who's watching this, if you had a ex from, I don't know, 10 years ago, that the only reason why you guys broke apart is because of distance, and they feel like that person was your soulmate, then, and you guys are in the same city and both of you are single and completely mature and available, and you both are still feeling the spark there, maybe now is not a bad time to at least reconnect on a friend's level and see if there's a chance to explore something further. And I'm going to check the recorder again. Oh, good. It's still recording because like I said, this is the third time I'm recording this and I'm a little bit paranoid. And the lessons that these cards represent, essentially the lessons or the advice you're being asked to learn, the lessons you're being asked to learn, and some of the advices you're given. And as I am seeing this, it feels like whatever this situation you had to endure the last 3 to 6 months, it feels finite. What I mean by that is that job doesn't seem to be the job that will come back into your life in the next 3 months. And if you had a breakup or divorce, that ex is not the ex I'm talking about, the one that you should be exploring becoming friends with. Maybe becoming friends with, but not, rekindle your relationship with. I was about to say something, but then I realized some of the people who's watching these videos are fairly young, so I want to keep my language fairly clean here. So it feels like there's very much an energy about, even with a recent setback, you've had time where you will be given chances to really take charge of your life and figure out next steps, right? Be in the driver's seat, really directing where you want your life to go. And again, the energy that's right away when I look at this card, like all cards, they all have different meanings, but right away when I look at this card, I'm seeing like the grab opportunity by the stick and then watch all the possibilities grow kind of energy. It's very much about, not as opportunities are being presented to you over this next 3 months, try to look beyond it. So for example, if you're being offered a job that's in a nearby city, and if that's something you want to pursue, in addition to the job that you're accepting, look at the other company that's in the area. So if to think, because no one's had a job for like 30, 40 years anymore. So to at least to know that when you go to a job now, at least there'll be some other options in the area for down the road should you pursue that way. Or if you take a job in a city with like a college, I'm seeing some of you wanting to go back to school, wanting to learn a new skill. So if the job that's being presented to you is in the city that has a couple of schools that you will consider taking classes at night or on the weekend or doing some type of part-time program, think about that. That's what I mean by look beyond what's immediately available to you. Or if you are reconnecting with like a couple really good college friends, and then ask them about their network. Maybe if you love to read, there's like a book club that one of them is in, you can join. Or as you're connecting with some of your old friends, then maybe you've always want to take up like skiing, and then you're moving to the city where one of your good old college friends lives in, and they're in a leisure skiers meetup group where they go out every weekend during the winter months. So this is what I mean by the opportunity. That's whatever opportunity comes your way, whether it's an opportunity for a new job or reconnect with old friends, just to see what other networking opportunities or what other options, that's the right word, that's available to you. And I feel like you're gonna get a lot of different things coming your way, whether there's new friends, new friends, or new options for work, or chances to make friends. I think there's still an energy of, don't forget, keep your eye on the ball. So for example, if you always wanted to be if you always want to be a psychologist, but you say you got married young and you start a family, you didn't go to go get your master's and PhD, and when you're no longer in that situation, sure, it'll take a little bit of time, but if it's truly what you want, and if it's still like you still feel in your heart that's something you want to pursue, keep your eye on the ball for the long term. Know that you are the driver. Know that you can take an active role in directing like the chariot of your life. Know that keep your eye on the ball and easy, steady, right? Because this horse is not leaping all over the place. There's a very steady kind of energy with this card. Take charge of your life and take concrete steps instead of just daydreaming about going back to school and getting your PhD now. Actively, search out the different programs, look at the requirements, look at what you need to do in terms of like time commitment and how you're going to negotiate that with your current lifestyle. There's a very easy, steady kind of energy, very methodical. That's what I was thinking about. Very methodical energy of stepping 1, 2, 3, and this is how I'm gonna get there. And I love this card. This card is all about the infinite possibilities in life. Truly master of your destiny. Let me just take charge of my life and just watch everything blossom. And I feel like any time you become a master of anything, it takes time, it takes focus, it takes dedication, and it takes that day in and day out kind of work. And this is very long term. So I feel like you closed a chapter that wasn't working for you, and you have the chance to take your life to a different chapter. You have all sorts of new beginnings that's available to you should you choose to go that direction. And the advice is be very methodical and consistency. I think consistency is a word I keep on hearing as I'm looking at this word. Consistency, focus, one step at a time, like left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. It's not a energy about let me try to get there as quickly as I can, as fast as I can. The energy here is very much about let me do this one day at a time, keep my eyes on the ball. Every day I chip away a little bit. Every day I work towards my goal a little bit. It's a very consistent, solid energy, which I think Capricorns appreciate anyway. Most Capricorns I know are very hardworking, very consistent people. So that is what I see for my Capricorn friends. So I hope this was helpful, and I hope this was at least entertaining, because my God, this was the third time I'm recording this. I was extremely determined to get this done for you guys today. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please subscribe if you find this entertaining, and please please like my videos, and I hope you have a fantastic day. I will see you guys again very soon.